Hello, welcome back to Better Than Before. I am your host, Yame.
Yame.
Should I do it like this the entire time?
Somebody's going to call you out.
Probably. I just love the British accent and I love it so much. I wish I had it.
We have a story about that, though.
Yeah, we do. Anyway, hold on. Let's get the start. Let's get the episode started. I have Taylor Taz Phrase with me here. He is my lovely, most handsomest husband. Wait, does that mean I have... Yeah.
Multiple?
Does that mean I have multiple then?
We don't believe in that.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, my husband is here. I figured for episode 2, we would collectively do like a life update. A lot of the questions that I get are essentially how Luna's doing, her transitions, and
those transitions.
And essentially like our relationship. So I figured it'd be great to just bring him on and do it together. Again, we don't really have like questions or anything. We're just gonna have like a free talk. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like just a conversation. We are gonna get started with one question though, and we're just gonna get right into it. So actually, we should back up. If you have no idea who we are, Luna, all that. So we've been together for about 10 years now, almost 10.
Yes,
Not married.
Married for 2.
Yeah, married for 2, but together for almost a decade.
Wow.
What you gonna get me for our 10-year anniversary? Actually,
wait,
where are we going?
Is it a 10-year dating anniversary?
I'm counting it all. I'm counting it all.
Oh, okay. So 10 years. This is a big one then. Yeah, where are we going? Maldives?
We gotta go somewhere. Yeah,
French Riviera.
You're just saying that. Just don't do that.
Bora Bora.
You're just saying that because we're on a podcast. We'll get up and he's like,
I would love to.
Do you want to go to Galveston?
Dang it.
Anyway, we have been together for almost 10 years. And we recently had a baby girl. She is 15 months now.
Yeah.
15 months, and she is the most beautiful thing in the entire world.
The best.
Yeah. And that's a quick little,
We are those parents that like spend all day with her and then like put her down to bed at night, and then it's like, oh, we miss her, and then we pull up like pictures of her and we just like start crying because
we just watch her on her nana and we're like, she's literally sleeping. We're like, look how perfect she is.
She's the most perfect sleeper in the world.
Look at her little hand and her hair. Look how her hair is laying. It's perfect.
It's all messy. This is growing so fast.
But somebody asked, and this is going to kind of kick off our conversation, and then whatever happens throughout will happen. But how's your relationship with your hubby since becoming parents? Do you go on dates ever? Do you have a routine at night to spend time together, or is that solo time? And then when is baby number 2? So that's a lot of questions.
Okay, let's start with baby number 2.
Okay.
Get that out of there.
We have something to tell you guys.
So,
we're not pregnant.
So funny we're
just
doing
kidding.
this up.
No,
LOL.
we're not pregnant. No. So
we haven't really solidied this yet.
But I mean, if it were up to Taz, the other day he was like, I'm ready for a kid. And I said, absolutely not. So the other day, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just kind of like in my head, I had like a thought. I think I'd be comfortable trying or getting pregnant when Luna's 3.
When she turns 3.
Yeah. And so that by the time he or she is born, Luna would be almost 4, right?
Almost 4, yeah.
Yeah. And I think...
what's your reasoning for that?
Right off the bat, I think people would be like, oh, but the age gap is too big. And I mean, is it though? Like, especially if it's a girl.
Oh yeah. Age gap really doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then if it's a boy, I mean, I think that's still a good age gap for the siblings to be together. Like if you want to think about like high school, then one will be a freshman, one will be a senior, but like whatever. And that could change, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the reasoning for that is giving me some time to get my life together. And I say that like kind of like as a joke, but not really. There's so much going on right now, with the fitness app and Lavavi and just like the day to day. I don't have a structure yet, and it makes it really difficult to even think about getting pregnant, especially when I had a really rough pregnancy. And I'm not saying that I'm going to have a rough pregnancy, but speaking from experience, it's kind of scary. And I think I told Taz this yesterday or the day before that I asked him, would you be okay with having a baby now? And he said yes.
Like getting pregnant now.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And he said yes. And I said, well, yeah, of course you would. because he said he'll have like 9 months to get ready for a baby. And I said, yeah, that's the difference between men and women. My life changes the second I get pregnant, whereas his or men's lives change 9 months down the road, so that's my reasoning. I need to get to a point where I feel comfortable in my life.
Like business wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. To think about having another baby, but
Yeah.
God willing, if there's a baby on the way, then there's a baby on the way, and we got to figure it out and do what we got to do. But if we could plan it,
Yes. If we had our perfect plan,
and who knows, maybe, things get really good for us and we're able to hire some help and, we have more free time, then for sure. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I agree with everything she said.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I do.
Okay. What was the other question? It was your relationship with your hubby since becoming parents. Do you go on date nights ever? And do you have a routine to spend time together, or is it just solo time?
Dates. They've been a little scarce, I think, because we're very particular with who we leave Luna with. And so getting out of the house it's not like we can just call up a babysitter or put a feeler out in the Facebook group and be like, hey, who wants to watch our baby girl? It's like, we're not just going to leave her with anybody. So that's a big thing, I think, in terms of getting time to ourselves. That's kind of been the limiting factor. And we understand, like, we would much rather have her with somebody we trust and maybe sacrifice a little bit of time with each other with that peace of mind. Because, you hear these stories of just horror stories of kids being treated terribly. And that's why she's not in daycare either.
Yeah.
So another thing that kind of goes back to, okay, timing of having a baby, making sure businesses is in a position to comfortably, I say that loosely, but because she's not in daycare, she's home with Yami all day. Yami has to take care of Luna while trying to run the business. And, we might get into some things that are possibly coming down the line as far as like my work and being home more. But.
And I do want to say, if you heard the first episode, so my mom is living with us. My dad is here for the holidays. So it's been such a blessing. And it's kind of like, not annoying, because it's like it's teasing. That's what I want to say. It's like teasing me like, oh, you have help. You can get everything done. But my dad's leaving like next week. And then my mom obviously is not going to watch her 24/7. So we have to think of like a plan. And I've been trying to like think about it. Like, I haven't really sat down and thought about it, but like it goes through my mind. I'm like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And that stresses me out more. And then it's just a whole thing. But, so anyway, back to the question of the date nights. We are starting to go out more now, because my parents are here. But before my mom was here, oh no, forget about it. We went out one time, and I think it might have been our mistake, but we had a friend watch her and she's fine with her. But Luna usually goes to bed at 7:30, right? At that time? Yeah, 7:30. And then we tried. I was like, I'll just put her down
at 6:30.
At 6:30 so you can just watch her. And that did not work. But that was my bad. Like we shouldn't have done that. Rookie mistake.
And so then like the babysitter who was here watching her was like,
what do I do?
Luna didn't go to sleep. She woke back up. She was crying. She was like in there basically with Luna the whole time we were out. And so I was like, oh, maybe that wasn't the smartest idea.
So again, that was our fault. And rookie mistake. Like I said, new parents, we're still learning. And but now that my parents are here, we have gone out, not necessarily like on date nights, but like I don't know, like, right?
We've had more time to ourselves.
Yes.
I would say.
Yeah. And then in terms of the night routine, I don't know if you were asking if we individually have a nighttime routine or Luna's nighttime routine. But so here's my conundrum. And I was telling Taz this. In theory, when Taz gets home from work, I should be working, in theory. But I hear them laughing and having a grand old time in Luna's room, and I don't want to work. I want to be with my family.
I want to miss out on that, yeah.
Yes. So that is maybe partially my fault, but when I really think about it, like what's important to me is my family, my daughter, my husband, and I'm not doing brain surgeries. So like I tend to be like, oh, this can go for tomorrow, which is again, my fault. Like I'm taking full responsibility, But that's why I feel like I have to get to a better routine of like working during the day so
Yeah.
that when Taz does come home from work, I am able to freely do that and not feel guilty that I'm not working. All that to say is that when he comes home, I'm usually with them and Luna, and that's kind of like our time together is with her. And then once the night once we put her down for sleep, it depends what's happening. Like it's the holidays right now, so we're trying to watch like movies or like just relax. Like sometimes we're in bed by 8:15 because we're so exhausted from the day.
Yeah.
And so we don't really have alone time, like individually, if that's what you're asking. Although for the new year, I told Taz that we should start individual hobbies.
Yep.
And so hopefully that will help us just find more, like a more either creative outlet or just have fun or just do things that we used to love to do that we don't do anymore because life. So yeah, do you want to add anything to that?
Not really. Man of many words.
My favorite guest, the man of many words.
No, I mean, there's not much more to add other than like everything that you said. Our nighttime routine, like when one of us puts one of us puts her down, the other one's like tidying up the kitchen. So we love to go to sleep with like a clean kitchen. So we wake up without dishes in the sink and without like just that clutter. So that does hopefully like allow us to when we're done putting Luna down and that other person's done cleaning the kitchen, then we can like come together and watch a movie or read or something and kind of decompress from the day. But we're definitely working on that routine because a lot of times I would say 40% of the time at least we are in bed by like 8:30. And so it's like we're so tired but we definitely need to work on like being together more, because if it's just go to work, come home, take care of Luna, put her down, clean the house, go to bed, like there's no room for the relationship to grow at that point. So it's definitely a balancing act, I would say. Which
we are still trying to figure out how to balance.
And with Luna's transitions and like how she's growing, it's always something shifting. It's always changing.
Speaking of transitions and how she's growing, my girl is a walking.
Oh, she is sprinting around the house. Yeah.
She's got like all her teeth. She eats by herself. She holds her bottle by herself. She walks.
She's a whole adult.
She is. It's insane.
She's not talking yet though. She's babbling
a ton.
A lot. You can tell like she's saying words, but they're not actual words.
Yeah. She does say mama, but not to me.
Yeah.
She said it one time.
Yeah.
And I nearly died.
On the plane.
I nearly died.
Plane that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I think maybe we speak to, so this is the second week of January, and like there are a lot of people that are making New Year's resolutions and you're in the fitness space. So I would say whenever you do like a Q&A or like whatever, like you put a feeler out for your audience, I think a lot of questions come down to like, how do you stay consistent? How do you keep on track? So how do you answer that?
Ooh, I feel like I'm being put on the spot. Well, I think the challenge over on Fit Club is a great example of, well, actually, no, I think a great example is January 1st with all the fitness people or people that have their fitness resolutions. Their motivation is so ridiculously high that they start out with a bang. And it's about like week 2 or 3 that it kind of starts to like, go down because 1, they don't see results, or 2, they don't see results, because that's usually when they stop. And I think people forget, if you're starting from the very first time or starting over, we forget that the results don't come overnight or in a week.
Yeah.
And we just kind of say, well, it's not worth it because I'm not seeing anything. And I think if you heard the last podcast, we talked about the habits. The habit is what's going to help you reach that goal. So it's not like an overnight thing, but it's what you do every single day that will allow you to either lose weight or put on muscle or lift whatever you want to lift. So all that to say is that I think we need to remove the the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the thought of,
Mentality?
yes, the instant gratification, the all or nothing mentality. We need to really think about the long game and breaking things down. Because if you think about, let's just say, I was going to say gain 10 pounds, but that's like really hard to do. And
You want to lose 30 pounds.
yeah, that sounds really, no, let's just say you want to lose 50 pounds. That
Yeah.
sounds like a long,
Yeah.
for the math, let's do 60. You want to lose 60 pounds, right? In the year. I don't know.
Well, you just have the goal of you start the year and you want to lose 60 pounds.
Yes.
Boom. You just look at that big goal.
But it sounds super daunting. And you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get there. It's day one and it feels so big. So what I like to do now is divide 60 by 12. That's 5 pounds a month. That sounds a little bit more doable, less daunting, and you can kind of start, instead of doing your year goal, you can go monthly goal. So my goal is to lose 5 pounds a month. And what do I need to do to lose 5 pounds this month? So just focus on what you have going on right now. And so if you divide the 5 by 4 weeks, you get 1 point something or another.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little over a pound a week.
Yeah. Which is super attainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you do that and then really think about how you need to dissect how you would get there. And that's what working out 3 or 4 times a week, eating this and that, and go from there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I think it's, instead of having this giant goal, it's about breaking it down into digestible.
Yeah.
Digestible.
That was good.
Thanks. Digestible little nuggets.
Yeah, that's good. And I think when people say, like, how do you stay motivated? Like, we know, and a lot of people know, that motivation is fleeting. And you're not always going to be motivated to get up and work out. Like, you're going to have a hard day. You're going to be tired. You're going to get sick, and like things are going to throw you off. And so on the day-to-day basis, like, you're not going to be motivated all the time. And I think instead of saying, how do you stay motivated? It comes down to discipline. And like, okay, you have this goal, you make this commitment to yourself and to making it happen, and you stay disciplined to staying true to what you say. And I think it really comes down to that, instead of trying to chase that motivation.
Yeah. And I think one thing I heard a couple of years back is confidence is doing the thing that you say you'll do. I think a lot of people that don't have the confidence, or don't think they have the confidence in themselves, that are in a fitness journey, or it's because maybe they don't know what they're doing in the gym, or they feel like they're overweight and they don't look good, or whatever the case may be. But if you say, I'm going to work out 3 times a week this week, and you actually get that done, there's no way, you can't tell me that you don't feel good about yourself, because you committed and you followed through, and you said, or you did what you said you were going to do. So it's all about the habits, and I know it's not fun. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say that there are times in my life where I'm doing things and then I need something and it happens. And then I say, thank you, past Yami, for making future Yami's life easier. And that has helped me so much. Like, I don't know, like, what's a good example? If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your clothes the night before, have your space ready to go, so that you have literally no excuse to get up. And you are paving the way for future you to have it a little bit easier.
You're setting yourself up for success.
You're setting yourself up for success.
Like tracking your food as well. Like, if you're starting out and you're doing the macros thing, or tracking your food and trying to make sure you eat a certain amount, plan the day before. Yeah. So you know the next day exactly like what you're eating, and it takes some pressure off of trying to make it happen the day of. Now, as you progress and you get more experienced and you get better at it, you don't have to do that. But right off the bat, like, you want to make it as easy on yourself to say yes to whatever you committed to.
And take it a step further, meal prep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know I don't meal prep anymore, but if that's the goal, then that's what you should be doing, you know?
You dig?
You dig?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. One thing I wanted to talk on and speak on, I think in the new year, we reflect on our past year And I think sometimes a lot of people reflect on things that they didn't do. And I want to touch on that because I get a lot of questions like, how do I get started on this and this and this, whether it be, start an activewear brand or just, content creation, influencing, all that stuff. And I was trying to find a quote that I heard, but I can't find it. And I'm going to probably butcher it, but stick with me. But essentially, I'm talking to the people that have I don't want to necessarily say a dream, but it could be a dream or an idea that they want to do or start a new hobby or start, like I said, an activewear brand, a business or a podcast or a YouTube channel or literally anything, but they won't because they are scared of XYZ, whether it be failing, not being good, being looked as dumb, being looked at stupid, what people are going to think, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because when I think about everything that I've started, I don't think I've ever really thought about like, oh, what are people going to say? I think about that now.
Yeah.
Once I'm like deep in it. But for some reason, I never really thought that. I kind of just like had the idea and do it. But the quote that I heard was, I'm going to mess it up. So I'm sorry in advance. It's like a river is 5 feet wide, but only an inch deep. But you don't know how deep it is. So you see how wide it is and it's like super scary and super overwhelming and you think you're going to drown, but you step into this river and it's literally an inch and you're like, oh, that's it. And again, I don't know if I said that right, or I don't even know if it translates, but it hit me really hard because we see these things that we want to do as these giant things and we don't do them because, like I said, those reasons that I said, or we think it's too much work and it's just too much for one person to handle, which it might be. But I think kind of the same thing we talked about dissecting the goals into smaller digestible habits. I think it's the same thing in that. But even more so, I think that you just need to do it.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, just
so cliche.
do it. It is cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. Yeah. And I think, what's that phrase? Motivation builds motivation, or creativity. Like once you start, you're going to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get more inspired, you get more creative, you get more motivated to keep going. And if there's any piece of encouragement that I could offer is just start, whether it's, I don't know, starting, let's just go super the easy route. You want to be an influencer, you want to be a content creator, you want to be a YouTuber, podcaster, whatever it is, just post. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about having everything look so perfect. Don't worry about, the cameras that you need. Like we all have iPhones, like, start now and then improve on whatever it is, because someone told me this a long time ago. And it's like, if your first product is perfect, what's next?
Yeah.
Like you don't have room for growth and you don't have room for creating anything else. So just do it, especially in 2024. Like there's so much room for so many of us. And, I think a lot of us are scrolling and we're seeing other people build their dream lives and we don't think that we're good enough to do the same. And I think that's just not right. You know?
That's good. That's really good.
I have more to say, but I feel like you want to say something.
No, I mean, yes, I do. You said that someone might be afraid of failing. Like the only way to fail is to not do it.
Yeah.
Like,
so essentially you're already failing. So
either,
stop failing.
Either you don't do it and you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Or you do it and then it's like, okay, maybe it didn't work out, but you tried.
Yeah.
You went for it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest first step. And I if we're going on the same, like you want to be a content creator or whatever, I saw somebody say that if you start right now, this is the smallest your audience will ever be. So you are trying, and if you're focused on it being perfect, you're trying to make a perfect product for the smallest your audience will ever be. So if you start now and just start putting stuff out, you can film it with your phone. You can get a tiny little point and shoot camera. It doesn't have to be this crazy camera that, you see the YouTuber with 2 million subscribers have. Like they grew into that. If you go back to their very first video, it was probably pretty terrible. So keep that in mind. Like if you're trying
to my videos, please. Thank you.
Remember you fill it on your iPad
Stop it. Bye.
in Astoria? No, we're archiving that one right now. No, but like, just keep in
Oh my
mind
God, I
that
forgot
you're
that
just,
I did that. No wonder it looks like that. I looked at my YouTube video the other day and I was like, why does it look like that? Because I filmed on my iPad. Sorry, continue.
it was back in 2014. So
Wow.
those cameras were not,
Not it.
I mean, they were decent.
That's all
but
we knew at the time.
crazy. Yep, that's it. But she used what she had. And so just stop striving. And I'm kind of speaking to myself too, because I've been wanting to create content, and I'm in the film world. And so obviously I put it on myself to make sure it looks perfect, and it's perfect, and the audio is great, and the composition and the lighting and everything. It's like, it has to be really, really good. But even I need to get out of that headspace of just, instead of making it perfect, just make it happen.
Yeah.
Just do it. I think there's also another side of this, that there's a technical side, and there's also like a mental side. The mental side we just talked about, of like, okay, getting over that hump of just creating. There's a technical side too of like, okay, I want to start, but like, I do need some equipment. Like, if you want a podcast, you need something to record. You need something. You need to learn about the hosting platforms. You need to learn about the technical side of it to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
So in that case, if you don't know where to start, reach out to somebody who's doing it right now, so they can more likely than not help you.
But one thing I will say,
Get off the ground.
yes, or Google.
Google,
But
YouTube,
one thing I
yeah.
want to say, in terms of that, like, I am all about helping people, but there comes a time where people feel like another person just owes it to them to tell them everything that they've learned, which
Some people are complete open books.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. Because I'm an open book. But like, I'll get people DMing me, hey, can you tell me who your manufacturers are? Like, no, I cannot tell you who my manufacturers are. I've done so much of the busy work behind.
Yeah.
And you're kind of not respecting their time and their efforts. A lot of times people want things to be done easily, and they think that everyone owes them everything. And while I am, again, I don't want to, you can ask people who have reached out to help. I will help you, but there are boundaries too. You want to respect people's time and all the effort and work that they've put in, because like, imagine if you built this giant brand. There's no way I'm going to, email Aloe Yoga and be like, hey, can I know who your manufacturer is? Because what?
Can you send me your designs so I can use them? No, there's...
I'm all about helping people and helping people get off the ground, but I'd love to give you resources on where you can find your own manufacturers, because finding manufacturers, you have to go through a bunch of them and see which one works for you.
Yeah.
But reach out to people, but don't feel entitled to whatever they have to offer, if that makes sense.
No, that's good. But you did mention like Google. Like the internet is insane. You can type in anything and find anything.
On Google, YouTube, TikTok. Like,
whatever
TikTok
you're
is now
looking for.
my search engine.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can search if you want to create content, like best camera to vlog with in 2024.
Yeah.
Like, by the time January 1st comes around, you can guarantee someone will have already made a video about the best camera to use in 2024. Yeah. It's the first day of 2024 and there's already resources for you. Yeah. So all that to say, there's endless resources for you to start whatever you want to start.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm definitely on the technical side. Like, I want to know what I need to make it happen. And then there's definitely the mental side of, okay, we just gotta start doing it. Because she's mentioned this to me, about how putting content out is a muscle that you work and you exercise, and the more you do it, the easier it gets, because you get into a routine. You find your voice. You find a consistent, I guess, just routine of filming, editing, how you speak. Yeah. And at first, it's going to be clunky. You're going to be talking to a camera, and you're going to feel a little bit weird. But then, as you do it more, it's going to become more natural. It's going to become easier to do it. And so it's going to be clunky at first. Another piece of advice that it's not going to be great. It's going to be tough, and you might. But
it's going to be great because you did it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So all that to say is that you don't want a whole year to pass by and you're still sitting on this idea that could change your life. And
if you see other people doing it,
that's so infuriating.
And don't sit there and be like, oh, well, they're doing it.
We're thinking about something else.
You could do it.
Yeah. I was thinking of like, you let the time go by and you see somebody else with your idea. You're like, dang it. That could have been so good. And I've been on that boat.
That too.
But yes.
And that's just another testament to you not starting, not taking that step and just doing it, putting things into place to do what you want to do.
Yeah. But going off what you were saying, it's not oversaturated. I heard this ridiculous statistic, and being in the industry, I mean, we're still talking about like content creation and stuff like that. I think it was like a crazy amount, like 4% of the population does content creation. That's nothing. That's nothing. I think that whoever wants to be a content creator or is in the space think that literally everyone's doing it because we're in it. Like, but when you get out of this bubble and you realize only 4% of the population, that's insane. That's like what, 4 people per 100 people? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's insane.
The total world population, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
No, I think it might've been I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but still.
But it's a tiny number.
Tiny number. So you're not oversaturated. Your field is not oversaturated. Imagine if like a doctor was like, I'm not going to be a doctor because there's so many doctors in this world.
You need more doctors.
You need more doctors.
Bring them on. So like your voice is unique, and whatever you have to bring to the table, nobody else can bring it the way you bring it.
Yeah.
Just like you look at all these influencers and these content creators like Marquise Brownlee. Like,
you love that guy.
I love him. He's great
because his content, his
content's clean. I love the way he presents it. Like no one else can do it the way he does it. And that's what makes him special. And he's obviously
still like other content creators.
I love other content creators because they all bring something different. Like Peter McKinnon. What's up, guys? Like he has his own thing and he has his own humor, and Casey Neistat and all these guys. Like you don't just watch one person all the time. You bounce around, and you don't just follow one person because you like how they influence or do their social media. Like it's like you follow a bunch of people because you enjoy how each of them brings something different. So same thing applies to you.
Yeah. So just do what you want to do, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and it's not a big deal. Like
you can pivot, you can go to something else, you can try something different.
All I want you to do this year is to at least start. Okay, start. There is something else that I wanted to talk about. If you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, then you know what I'm going to talk about. Or you've heard me talking about it. But I would be doing a disservice to my people if I were not to bring this up. So hopefully by now it is done and the ceasefire has actually happened. But for those of you that don't know, I am Palestinian, and this whole genocide has been really hard on me. I'm going to try not to cry. We can do this.
We can do it. But if you cry, it's okay.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what's going on, which I can't even imagine that somebody does not know what's going on, but on my earring, it was hurting my ear. On October 7th, Hamas, they
attacked Israel.
Yeah. And, everybody thought, oh gosh, terrorist attack against Israel and, all that stuff. But then Israel came back and literally started a genocide. As of right now, today's December 29th, there have been over 20,000 Palestinians killed, with almost 8,000 of them being kids. It's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Point, period, done.
Full stop.
Full stop. I also want to say that if you follow me, you know that I am not anti-Semitic. I hate that I even have to say that. And I hate that you have to justify, not justify it, but I hate that you have to, say that you don't want a genocide, but also say, oh, it's not anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
They're not
mutually exclusive.
Right. But something I've learned throughout this time, it's really put into perspective what's really important. And I didn't post on Instagram or TikTok for a month and a half, because it just felt like nothing mattered. Like literally nothing mattered, because we're wiping out an entire population in Palestine, and then influencers here are sharing their OOTD. Like I literally feel like I'm living in two different worlds. Now I'm back to posting and I'm back to work because I obviously have to provide for my family, but it has not been easy, especially with it still going on. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I would encourage you to, research and educate yourself, because I don't want you to just take what I have to say and then run with it. Like, it is the truth, but I also do want you to educate yourself. Taz has done the same thing. Is there anything you want to say?
No, keep going.
And it's just been a sad couple of months, especially with a new baby. And I think everything is heightened when you have a baby and you see all these precious babies in Palestine, honestly, like being slaughtered. Like, I've seen images that no one should have to see or live.
There's kids being pulled from underneath buildings, and it's,
Yeah. And, sorry. And it just kind of feels like a bad dream that you can't wake up from. And then I feel so stupid saying that, because people are actually living it. And I have the privilege of being here, like, safe. And so many don't. And it just breaks my heart that this is the world that we're living in.
Yeah.
Where, the UN votes for a ceasefire and two people don't, or two countries don't. And so the ceasefire doesn't happen. So.
Yeah.
And again, I hope that by the time this podcast airs, like, it's done. But still, 20,000 people have been lost.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's very sad. And there's so many different, I'm not going to say there's different sides to it, but there's so many factors, like, when you think about this, and it's like, well, it's not okay regardless of if you look at just on the surface, like, what's happening and how many civilians and how many children have been killed because of this. And like, it's a law, like a war law. I don't even know if that's like a law that, like, you need to take steps during war to protect civilians. And it's obviously not happening if 20,000 civilians have died in a matter of 2 months. So on that side, and then it's like the whole side of, I mean, if you guys follow us, you'll know, like, we are Christians, and so we are believers. And so there's the other aspect of it that's like Israel, and like, how does that play into things? And
honestly, don't get me started, because I might say something.
It's regardless whether or not Israel, that we know, are God's people, I can't support Israel when they are slaughtering all of these people.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to say.
Listen, there's no way that Israel gets a pass because they're God's chosen people. There's no way that they get a pass for killing 20,000 people because they're God's chosen people.
Because if you are God's chosen people, you would hopefully be living by God's principles.
Exactly.
Of loving one another and loving your neighbor, and, all these things that Jesus taught. And there's the whole thing that, the Jews didn't accept Jesus, so they don't follow his teachings or whatever. And like, there's even in the Old Testament, if the Jews don't follow the New Testament teachings, even in the Old Testament, it said in Exodus, when God was giving the commands to Moses to give to the Israelites, it said, do not mistreat or oppress foreigners, because you were once foreigners in Egypt. So it's like, okay, well, if you're not living by the New Testament, live by the Old Testament laws, but you're living by the land promise that was given to Abraham. Okay, land promise, we're going to focus on land promise, but we're not going to focus on the other laws that were given to you in the wilderness.
Cherry picking.
But so you can pick and choose. So all this stuff, it just doesn't add up to me. And I can't even as a believer, I can't support Israel when this is happening.
Yeah.
Now, if things were different and they were being more precise, which we know they can be with targeting.
Like if you're targeting Hamas, target Hamas.
Don't bomb civilian civilian areas
Yeah.
and refugee camps and things like that just because you think Hamas is there.
Like that's like there's a school shooting and the gunman is in the school and you bomb the entire school. Why would you you wouldn't do that?
Mm-mm.
So.
And with Israel having one of the most technologically advanced militaries in the world, like you think they could be more precise, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. This could be a conversation that has so many different like arms. But I did want to talk about it because there are so many influencers and celebrities that are not talking about it, which could make such a huge difference. And since I have talked about it, I didn't want to not talk about it on here either because this is a platform, and I don't know, maybe somebody that hasn't heard about it will hear about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a very complex thing to talk about because you could go so deep, and like we just kind of like
barely scratched the surface. And if you guys are interested in like a longer conversation about this, let me know. I've actually been thinking about bringing somebody on to talk about it, but let me know if that is of interest. I do want to let the Palestinian voices be heard and not necessarily like other people because you want to lift the voice of the oppressed, not other people that are, I mean, this is so complicated because now there are people like mooching off the Palestinian suffering to increase their influence, which is kind of like, it feels yucky.
Yeah.
But anyway, like he said, we literally just scratched the surface, and I just wanted to just briefly mention it and, note and let you guys know that I'm still dealing with it and processing it, and not necessarily in the best place right now, but gotta keep on keeping on.
Keep on. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I feel like we need to end the podcast on a brighter note.
Yes. Foundation week 2.
Foundation week 2. There's a fitness app now.
Let's go.
If you haven't joined the app, join the app. It is such a fun place to be. I have so much fun. You'll see me laugh. I'm silly. I'm ridiculous. I'm a dork.
And the workouts are great.
The workouts are great. Thank you.
So good. I've done them.
Solid.
Not all of them, but I've done them.
Are you going to do the challenge?
I might have to.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do it every morning?
Every morning. I did set a goal for myself to be up at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
in parentheses most days.
Most days could be Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, Fit Club, if you haven't checked it out and you want to try it out, you do get 7 days for free to try it out. I will link everything in the show notes so you guys can just go straight to it. But I think that's it. That's how we're going to wrap the show today. Thank you, Taylor, for making time.
Thanks for inviting me in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm glad I was able to make it.
Yeah. It was a long trek.
It was.
Look, we started the podcast with the accent, and now we're finishing it.
Yeah.
Wait, what story were you talking about with the podcast? I mean, with the accent.
What story?
Yeah.
Oh, the one where you were on the dictator.
Oh, yeah. So, in another life, I was an extra in a movie called The Dictator. You might know it, with Sacha Baron Cohen. And
genius out here, that man is. Genius.
He is. He's very nice. But I was on set with them. I was one of the...
and he's English.
He is. What was my role? What was her?
You're a virgin guard.
Yes, the virgin guard. And we were like his guards. And this was when I had first moved to New York. And at this point, my roommate and I, we were just obsessed with like speaking in a British accent. So we would practice all the time. And I went to set, and I don't know what happened. I think I heard him talking like far away. And when I hear somebody, it like just starts. Like it just starts. I don't think about like, okay, let me start. It just comes out, and it's really bad. And so I heard him talking, and then so I started talking to somebody else in a British accent. Like I turned around talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden I turn around and guess who's right in front of me? And it's Sacha Baron Cohen. And he starts talking to me in a British accent, and I frickin' reply in a British accent. And in my head, I can't tell you what we were talking about because all I was thinking was like, you cannot stop this. Like you've got to commit to this. And he probably thought I was like rubbish and like,
where are you
this
from?
stupid
like,
girl. Yeah.
Sense. Like,
so anyway, that was my story with the British accent. And he was really nice, but it's just one of my faults. Not one of my finest moments, I'd say.
But you did it.
But I did it. And hey, I did it. I did it. And it failed and I will never do that again. But I did it.
So
anyway,
funny.
That's the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know if you have any questions. But if not, we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Later.
Mwah.